Now, developing news from KXAN News.
And we will never believe that that lie is the truth. She knew that she killed my daughter.
A mother disappointed and angry after the controversial sentence for the woman who killed her daughter. The punishment for Gabrielle Nestande brings strong emotions and calls for change.
The Travis County jury recommended no jail time for the crash that killed Courtney Griffin.
We further find that the defendant has never been convicted of a felony in this state or in any other state, and we recommend that the sentence be suspended and the defendant be placed on community supervision. Yes, is there?
Nestande faced up to 10 years in prison after being found guilty yesterday of criminally negligent homicide. Instead, she walked out of the courtroom free this afternoon. After the verdict, Griffin's mother shared her emotions.
Ladies,
we're heartbroken. No. My hearts are broken. Such a huge void. It's going to be hard. We're going to really fight for the legislation that we've started so that no other family will ever have to go through what we've gone through, and that people will have the decency to stay for someone when they hit them, and they won't drink so much that they won't drive in the bike lane and kill a completely innocent person that did nothing but love her family and her community, and she gave so much to Austin.
Ma'am, what do you think what would have been a just sentence in your opinion?
They proved intoxication manslaughter, and they proved failure to stop and render aid. 30 years, 15. 15 years is what I believe. 30, that'd be great.
What message does this send to the city?
Everybody just go out tonight and drink, get behind the wheel, drive through neighborhoods, and hit innocent people that aren't wearing dark clothing on a dark street when anyone should be able to see them. And we will never believe that that lie is the truth. She knew that she killed my daughter.
That decision came after powerful closing arguments that included a warning to jurors from the prosecution. Chris Sadeghi joins us live from the courthouse now to tell us more.
Leslie, the prosecution's position was that Nestande needed to be held accountable because she had not shown remorse for the accident that killed Courtney Griffin. They pointed to a picture of Nestande smiling during yesterday's verdict reading as she was not remorseful and that probation would not be appropriate. But the jury disagreed, so Nestande, for up to the next 10 years, will be under community supervision. There are several terms that may or may not be included, and we won't know those until the final sentencing on March 25th. The defense says she wants to stay in Texas, but for the last 17 months, she's been in California with her family in a state where probation laws are generally more relaxed. That's why the prosecution warned the jury in closing arguments that if given probation, it's possible Nestande may not be controlled by Travis County.
And if she's in California, this court has no authority over how often she reports. She could report once a month, she could report twice a year, she could report once a year. This court has no authority over that.
Now, the March 25th sentencing date still holds some intrigue because it is still possible the judge in this case could give Gabrielle Nestande jail time. We'll talk more about what to expect on March 25th coming up at 6 o'clock. For now, we're live from the Travis County Justice Center. Chris Sadeghi, KXAN News.
Thank you, Chris. And we want to look more in depth, and you might be wondering exactly what this 10-year suspended sentence means.
Our Shannon Wolfson here to explain what happens next and more about what the judge could do on this case.
Yeah, you know, it's important to remember that this sentence is just the one that was recommended by the jury. So that doesn't necessarily mean it's set in stone. Judge Sage will take it under advisement, but she could do a lot of things, including adding jail time, as Chris mentioned, even making the term of the probation shorter. We just spoke to an attorney who's been watching this case very closely. Here is what he had to say about what the judge will be considering over the next month before the final sentencing for Nestande.
One, she's going to consider whether or not it is a justifiable punishment, whether or not there's a lesson to be learned, whether or not it's a deterrent for her. Lesser extent, is it going to be a deterrent for the community? Is somebody on the outside going to say, I don't want that to happen to me, I'm not going to do that?
All right, so it's also up to the judge to set the terms of the probation. She could require one of those ignition interlock devices be placed in Nestande's vehicle so she cannot drive under the influence. She could also order home confinement, a GPS tracking ankle monitor. Really a lot of unknowns here. And as you heard Chris Sadeghi mention, there's been a lot made about the difference in the probation system in Texas versus California. That is where Nestande is from and where her family lives now. Our understanding is that Judge Sage could order her to stay in Texas for the entire term of her probation. Again, Leslie and Robert, we won't know a lot of those details until that final sentencing on March 25th.
All right, thanks, Shannon. That helps us understand it a lot better. Courtney Griffin's mother said that her family will continue to fight for tougher Texas laws for hit-and-run accidents. Griffin's father's been working with an Austin state senator to get tougher penalties for people who drive away after a deadly accident. Under current law, failure to stop and render aid carries a punishment of 2 to 10 years behind bars. But Senator Kirk Watson proposed a new bill to make the crime of leaving the scene of a fatal crash a second-degree felony, and that would make the maximum punishment 20 years in prison. Our in-depth coverage continues online right now at KXAN.com. We have a photo gallery from inside the courtroom and extended video clips showing today's developments in court.